Hello, we were the Taste It Senior Project. My name is Emma.
My name is Thomas.
My name is Quinn.
My name's Brady.
I'm Gianna.
And I'm Leah.
We're the Taste It team.
Taste It is a monthly wine subscription company based in LA, started by 4 individuals who have both been active in the wine industry and marketing and sales area, so a pretty diverse team. Each month you receive 8 quarter-sized bottles of wine from all over the world, rated 90+ points. Currently there are 4 different kit themes to choose from that allow you to pick based on your preferences for whites, rosé, and reds.
Alright, so for our client needs, they have a few things they wanted to do for us, including customer acquisition, customer retention, and then some social media and advertising work for them, which included finding some influencers to represent their brand, helping out with their Instagram, helping out with Facebook ads, Adwords, SEO and SEM, retargeting their consumers, as well as help with their launch party, which is happening in April.
Kind of give you guys a little idea of how we communicated with the team. Kate and Zach were our team leads. There's another guy named Joe, part of the team as well. We communicated through phone calls, texts, emails, and specifically through this website called Asana. It's pretty cool. We added a little screenshot just to show you kind of how they're able to add tasks. When you're done with the task, you pretty much check mark it. If you have any questions, you can ask them. We had 10 weekly meetings or so at 11:30 a.m. where we would all phone call in and kind of have a conversation, go through the agenda of what we were doing, what we needed to do for that week individually and as a team, as well as a ton of different individual meetings, pretty much whenever they needed you to talk shortly or longly on the phone. Gigi kind of acted as our point guard. She's kind of was the fulcrum of the team and the communicators. They communicate a lot through her and the other girls.
All right, so based on what Kate and Zach wanted from us for this specific senior project, Kate and I kind of came up with 6 different areas based on, each different person's personality and what they were good at, and then came up with these 6 different tasks. So for the quarter, Brady was in charge of the SEO, SEM AdWords, so he got AdWords certified, which we'll talk about later. Leah was our social media and design expert. TK was in charge of PR outreach. Quint was influencer marketing outreach. Emma dealt with customer service, and I was kind of our sales manager and team leaders, the main communication between everyone, so I kind of floated in and help where help was needed. So as the sales manager, I kept track of all of our sales that our team was making, so we each were able to create specific promo codes for individuals and different groups of people based on who we were reaching out to. So I created that for each of our team members, and then gave a daily update on where everyone stood in their sales. So here's a few examples we found of some effective emails and DMs. So the one on the left is an email, so kind of short and sweet and pretty concise, which some hyperlinks so people could check it out more easily. And then at the top, kind of just a fun little infographic. And then here to the right is kind of the DM example, which would include some verbiage as well. But then something that's interactive, you can click on it, and then you see a promo code that's tailored to the specific group. So here's our team sales by person. And you can see all of our different promo codes we made. So in total, we all had 54 sales. And then down at the bottom, you can kind of see where everyone stood in that total number. And then when we created the survey, we attached a promo code to it for Cal Poly students. And we actually got 2 signups from it, so that's what you see down below. Another thing I did was some company research. So we were generating sales with specific promo codes, but they also want to start a brand ambassador program with influencers. So they were vetting out this one company, and so my job was to research that specific company and then others as well, kind of see what was out there. And then I set up some calls between the founders and between these companies. to kind of get an idea of what else was out there and what it was costing. Also on the side, I created a Pinterest shot list with different boards and different ideas. Pinterest is a really big and active way for people to buy products kind of like this. So there was some statistic about 94% of people who click on things in Pinterest buy it, so they want to get that started. And then a Creator Awards application, so I signed up Taste It for the specific awards. So basically what the Creator Awards is, it's an awards program for individuals, companies, or nonprofit businesses to receive anywhere from $130K to $360K to help their business. So I kind of created an outline of their video and then an outline of questions on their application for them to deliver. And then the last thing I helped with was launch party tasks. They're having their launch party in April, so they needed a lot of help with kind of sponsorship and get, food for the event and invitees and all that. So a few things I did, I reached out to snack companies to have food donated for the event or at a discounted price. I reached out to catering companies because they are having a private dinner beforehand for influencers and kind of media. And they're having a 3-course dinner, so they need some food as well. And then PR outreach to attend the actual event. This event's all about generating brand awareness, so they wanted a lot of writers in the food and wine industry, lifestyle magazines, influencers in the LA or California area. So I reached out to big wine magazines, big influencers kind of in the wine world, but also in the food and lifestyle world. As well as reached out to influencers to come to the private event and dinner. And then they also are looking to have a photo booth and then a separate and repeat outreach that I helped with as well. So here are kind of next just examples of emails I wrote and what was effective and what wasn't. So for the sponsorship for donations for snack companies, what I found was really effective was including their own product in the email. So this is just the email I wrote, the generic one, and so at the top we would include the company, tell them about the event, show them a picture of the venue, can then kind of see where it's happening. Emphasize that it's a really big opportunity for brand exposure because their brand will be there. Their brand's logo could potentially be on the invite list depending on how much money they were giving or how much they were donating. And including their product, we love this product because of this, and so that adds just kind of a personal touch. And then emphasizing who's attending, so the kind of, because these are all LA-based companies, so if they see other people in the LA area who they want exposure from, they see that as well. And then here's just the email draft to catering companies. So again, keeping it kind of short and sweet. And then these were the approved vendors on Malibu Rocky Oats where the event is list. So that was really easy to reach out to them just because, I talk about how, you were highly rated for Malibu Rocky Oats, Oaks. And so that was another example. And so this is the example of the PR email I wrote. So just some of them I wrote to was LA Daily News, LA Biz, Wine Business, the Wine Industry Insight. So we actually got Louis Perdue to attend. The Wine Institute, Diane Berardi, and then Wine Winkers, and they are actually international, so they're bloggers, but so they can't attend, unfortunately.
So you do have Louis Perdue coming?
Yeah, he happens to be in LA that weekend, and so he was like,
He knows Bill Amsbacher. I know Bill's had him come to class a few times.
So things for the PR email, again, kept it direct, short and sweet, include picture of the venue, and then also it was really important the attention to the time of day. Zach, one of the founders, said he was reading a bunch of articles that Thursday mornings was a really good time to send out to writers and bloggers for whatever reason. So we made sure that we we're sending out these emails in the morning, not on weekends, and either later in the week. And then also included their latest article they wrote. just, so what they write about. And then in the influencer invites, so this is an example of one of the influencers we reached out to. So with the influencers, it was a little different because they are invited to an exclusive dinner with some of them. And so for this email, we wanted to, focus on that it was exclusive. It's only 15 to 20 people. It's going to be a private event before the actual event. They got Rent the Runway, the Black Tux, and then Kendra Scott to sponsor the event, so they're going to be dressed by them. So emphasis on that. And then, of course, including the picture of the venue and then the influencer dinner invite as well. And then this is the example of the photo booth step and repeat outreach. So for them, just focusing on getting a good discount. So this wasn't about getting something for free, it was more just a discounted package. So, offering them, you're going to get your logo on the invite, and then you get tickets to the event for a lot of these as well. And then some things, what worked, what didn't. With all these emails, adding a picture of the venue definitely helped. People's responses was, wow, this looks fabulous, I love the location. Adding the hyperlink of the website, my phone number, and the Taste It logo when you sign off just makes it more official. Short, direct, concise verbiage. A lot of articles that we also read about PR people is they want to know, in the first couple of sentences, what's the date, what's the time, where is it, why am I attending? Again, attention to the time of day sent, because otherwise we'll just get lost in all these emails. All these people are getting hundreds of emails each day, so that's really important. Then also attention to subject line, because that, again, we found that when you put their name first and then kind of what it is, that really helped. So for the PR outreach people, I put their name and then wine tasting event, launch party invite, so they know what they're getting. Some things that didn't work were lengthy emails and things that were impersonal. And then some key takeaways for me personally. I learned, how to effectively communicate, not just through in-person, but a lot of this since Kate and Zach are down in LA. It's really important to learn how to communicate, over the phone and through emails. Also how to properly write formal emails when trying to get sponsorships. So again, paying attention to what works, what doesn't, and then what you can change. And then just between team members and then the Taste It founders. Like TK said, we had, weekly meetings. And, since they're a startup, we were getting calls, throughout the week. So learning how to kind of go with the flow. How to generate sales through Facebook, DMs, emails, and then in person. So normally you think of sales as being in person on the phone, but also a lot of this had to do with actually DMs and then, on Facebook. So learning how to be, more direct, more concise, learning how to follow up with someone. That's how I personally got a lot of sales, was with follow-up. And then willing to go the extra mile, willing to help the consumer. And then lastly, go with the flow. Like I said, they are a startup, and they're very busy. Startups are very time-consuming, we all learned. And things change, so I think we all learned how to be flexible as well.
Am I in the shot of you? Should I say it right here?
Yeah, that's better. Okay.
All right, so my primary objective was to reach out to social media influencers originally. Obviously that changed over the course of these last 10 weeks. But yeah, initially reaching out to them was a little hard. Some of the smaller ones were actually, they posted for us, but at the end of the day, reaching out to someone with 200,000 followers isn't super easy unless you have a good incentive. The incentive we used pretty much throughout the entire time was a $10 for each sign up, assuming that they have their own promo code. But again, that wasn't easy, because even if I got out and reached out to the influencer, they were kind of asking for more initial monetary incentive rather than just maybe making money. But on top of that, I reached out to landowners in San Francisco and kind of discussed ways that they would reach out to their tenants. Same idea, $10 per sign up if their tenants went with Taste It. And then I did a lot of little pet projects. I initially tried to help Leah with the design for the launch party. logo, and then use my social media to reach out to family and friends, because as we know, startups, family and friends are the easiest way to reach out to the communities. And then working with Zach to find different ways to address people for sales. One thing I could say is that my instead of person verbal person face-to-face sales, I had to use a lot more email-based sales and DMs on Instagram and things like that. And so I draft a lot of letters, emails, and direct messages with him for hopefully them to use later, and whoever takes over for us when we take off. And also create a script for calling people. And then towards the end, I created a couple of legally binding documents to collaborate with things like the Black Tux for their launch party. So basically, ensuring that they, get what they paid for their things. And then.
So me and Quint, we're kind of going to go through all of our things that we did together, because we did work together pretty much the whole time. And Kate and Zach had told us that from the beginning. So a lot of things that I had done and helped with are very similar to Quint's. We worked on a lot of projects together and as a team. Found out I'm not as good as I don't really have a social media presence, and I found out I'm not very good at doing sales through Instagram, Facebook, because not necessarily I'm not a part of those things, but they're not as big as part of my life. But maybe moving forward, it's something that I can incorporate more and learn how to use it a little bit better. Pretty much our main focus was on sales strategies and figuring out different ways to enter into different markets, customer segmentation, pretty much what would work best for the company, reaching out to all of these companies. The focus of the company changed from millennials in the beginning to kind of a broader scope, and I like to think that our team efforts kind of really opened their eyes to that. The girls did a really, really killer job of hitting some of the older cohorts, specifically their moms and moms' friends, and kind of reached out, and they did a really amazing job doing that. So pretty much we were encouraged to think outside the box. Originally, I technically was a PR outreach, which is pretty ironic because I could not ever see myself ever doing public relations outreach. So it was an awesome experience to learn how to fail, but do it swimmingly. Pretty much, as Quinn said, we helped develop social media and email marketing strategies. Sponsorship party, I did all the dirty work behind the signage, the step and repeat, and the photo booth, kind of just giving Gianna all the good stuff to take it home and really get that sales going and get those companies to come and help us out. Again, customer service, me, Brady, and Quint also worked on a lot of projects together, including Emma, and that was one of the things they probably needed the most help with, so we were able to do some more of that. So this is kind of the original. This is where we started out. This is the first thing we looked at when we were working on Taste It. Me and Quint together, they kind of had this already formed. We're going to continue on to the next slide, and we'll go more into it. But go back up. So pretty much this is the format they gave us. So they gave us the idea of what they wanted. You can't really see, but they have like Instagram account, Facebook account, and we'll go more into that. And you'd do some research, pretty much creeping, Facebook creeping, doing stuff like that, figuring out who these influencers are, and what they kind of deemed as an influencer came out to be about like 10,000 followers to 7,000 followers up from there. So they really wanted us to target these people. So we'd send them emails. Quint, he got one of the first companies, I think it was Rose All Day, this really big Instagram account. He hit them up and was able to reach them. We weren't as effective as we'd like to be, but I think it was a really good learning process. So just continuing on that. These are some more, we did a lot of bachelors of things we'd add. What we needed was some names, information. Do they have Instagram, Facebook, other outlets, like do they blog, are they in a magazine? Things like that they normally wouldn't think of that can reach out to this customer segmentation that they really wanted.
And this is what I made. So this is like the kind of the email template that we'd send to companies to try to have them reach out to their employees. Just as like here's a company that we're just got an email from. Like if you guys would like something like Taste It, here's how it works. And then it's kind of generic email. It's kind of same thing as all of our other messages, but kind of more formal. And then this is one of our text templates. It's kind of like an idea of a conversation we'd have. And that first example is more like a dialogue. The second example is just kind of like this is what you mass send out to people, just kind of an easy generic thing. And then this is okay. So this is what Brady, TK, and I all worked on.
Mm-hmm. And this was
you
get in here.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Look at this good looking dude.
I know, but yeah, the older person's in there. Move over.
This is, so we did, so this was here, I can go low. This is segmented, so Brady, you guys can all see. This is actually segmented. All you're only seeing right now is the San Francisco list. Quint's, this is the San Francisco list. Brady was in charge of the LA list. Quint was in charge of the San Diego list and helping out with the San Francisco list. So we compiled all these. This is one of the really fun segmentations that we tried out. Didn't work as well as we would have liked to. It was pretty hard to actually contact these people and be like, will you please send out, not please, but we'd like to send you out to all your tenants in your apartment complexes this email about promotion that we're doing. So we were able to handle this, pretty much just doing some elbow grease and hard work and finding all these places. What do you guys?
The main hurdle with this is like, as much as I love cold calling people don't like to be cold called. So, a lot of people were very like, how did you get this number? Like, what is it? Like, who? Like, what are you talking about? Why? Like, I don't want to do this. I'm not buying your shit, kind of thing. So it would have been easier if we had an email list, because I don't know what it is like about. There's probably some legality to it, but basically, apartment complexes like to get the information of the landlord, they offer phone numbers and not emails, which I think is kind of weird. But yeah, you can't. It's hard. You can't find emails for landlords, but you can find phone numbers. So that was a bummer. Text would have probably been all right too, but I think Zach preferred cold calling. But so yeah, that didn't really work out.
The major hurdle I saw through it was landlords didn't really want to give their tenants alcohol or a deal on alcohol when they're living within their building. So that was like the major kickback that I got from it all. I was actually doing the San Diego list, and San Diego isn't as big as like SF and LA with the whole millennial scene. It's big, but it's like a little bit more mixed in. And everywhere I called was just kind of like, oh, I don't want to be giving people alcohol. So it kind of made sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just,
but I guess with something like this in your startup, you gotta get really crafty. So this wasn't a bad idea. I can see it working for other products, and I can maybe see it working with an established company. But yeah, I think that people were just confused and pissed off that people were cold calling, and that just didn't work out as well as we wanted it to. But again, it's something now you know.
I think it was an excellent example of bootstrapping, actually.
It sure is, yeah.
So this is like something me, Emma, Brady, Quint all actually got to work on. Emma's sitting behind the computer desk. She did a kick-ass job. And this is the switching the orders. So we had to switch a bunch of people's orders. So pretty much we had to text all these people. We got this big list right here, and you get this list of all these. You can't really see my face. You get this list of all these like orders that we'd have to text, and Emma was able to help delegate some of these orders from me, Brady, and Quint, and her to text. So we text them this like simple message. This is a message from Quint. Hey Quint, hey, it's Quint from Taste It Wines, and then he'd go on to be like, do you want to switch, because we were switching the type of boxes and the variety that people would be getting. And then we throw them over on this list for Emma to edit.
And yeah, so okay, this is a different thing, but this is basically what I was working on for this is kind of like the legally binding document for the people we were working with for the launch party. This is the Black Tux, and that's kind of what they wanted people to be using who are in LA to rent their tuxedos for the event. And I can't remember what it says. But this is what they get with the sponsorship. Basically, when I sent them an email, they were offered a $500 promotional package or a $1,000 package, and there's obviously more benefits with the $1,000 one, and I think most people went with that. But yeah, in here it says promotion of Black Tux promo code, logo included on invitation. You're allowed to have branded signage at the venue, receipt professionally edited. So professional photos. All like kind of logos all over the place, exposure during influencer dinner, which is kind of big, which is a big one. Because people want to talk to the influencers too, so more money you can talk to the influencers. Feature in the Blue Lifestyle radio segment. Yeah, we're gonna go.
I just want to make sure. All right, keep going.
So this is
I
kind
hope
of an
I didn't
example.
run out of
You can't really
space on my desk, but I have another desk.
Oh, yeah. This is the project that me and Gianna were lucky enough to work on together. Pretty much, I went and created a whole slideshow for Kate to do a bunch of different signage. We ended up deciding on the step and repeat. But these are some of my favorite ones. I wanted them to do these stare decals with taster wine. They're pretty expensive and they're really hot, so it's just kind of an idea of like something I'd send her. This would be in a slideshow of like all these different signages. So I talked about like the entrance, then the middle walkway, things like that. And these are kind of an idea to help you guys understand like what it can do for their projects.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is my side. This is kind of one of the reasons I think it was sort of tough to sell it. You know, this is just like something I kind of like just threw together. It's just kind of like, you know, for how many households like drink wine, or how much they spend per year, it's already kind of cut in half with wine. And, you know, their target market is millennials who are still like a rising consumer right now. And I just think that, you know, like, because Taste It costs about $500 a year, and that's like, you know, a lot more than people budget for alcohol. It's just a little harder to sell in general. And that's just, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, yeah.
So here's some of my team takeaways. I actually got a lot out of this project. We were having a lot of fun because we really bonded as a team. There's a lot of times that our team came to impasse, but we were able to overcome those obstacles using teamwork and good motivation. And taking, you know, sometimes you got to take a step back and look at things through other people's eyes and the amount of work they put in. And so that was a really good example of how this project really, you know, something I took away. Definitely the direction that a company is going, and it was, for me, I personally took away. It's really helpful to figure out where we're going to go. And I think that was something that was sometimes a miss, but it was just so chaotic. And I think that was something that was, we learned, you know, you can talk so much about a startup, and until you're really in it and in the pit, you don't really know how it's going to operate and what's going to happen and the things you're going to be asked to do, get out of your comfort zone. Even though I would say that I definitely didn't do the best at like the social media PR outreach, it was something that I really, really learned from and was able to take a lot of things away from. The cold outreach, it's hard. It can be done. I maybe wasn't able to dedicate as much time as I should have, but it takes time and dedication. You got to follow up. I think one of the things that was like hard is for when you envision sales and stuff like that, it's not like you have a list, but you have an app or something, or like you're targeting a demographic with like an idea of going after that demographic, whether you're pulling those names off Yelp or whatever. So going after specific customers rather than businesses was a really interesting thing. We did go after businesses as well and said we'd love for you to promote that product, but it was really hit hard into us that they would like us to go after our friends and family. And I think that was a really good experience of learning that I'm definitely not the best at that, and it's something I can get better at. Startups are madness, like I said. Everyone needs to be all hands on deck. Everyone did a really good job of you know, doing what they had to do, especially when they didn't want to do it. And going with the flow is an understatement of importance to working at the startup. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Hi, Kate and Zach. So my main responsibility was mostly to take over the Hello at Taste It Wines email account. So anytime a customer would reach out to Taste It, it was me replying to them. And then also, since we joined this project right before the first box sent out, you know, a couple people have made some like mistakes in their orders or, you know, anything. And so they weren't entirely sure how to fix some of these things. So by using these customer emails, I was able to like ask Shopify and Bold and like chat with them and like figure out how to, you know, fix these like mistakes, or just kind of like learn how to use the e-commerce platform, which is Shopify, and then within that Bold is the recurring app subscription. So because of the way that they did it, there could have been like a really expensive thing that was like all in one website, but to save costs, being a startup, they used this Shopify platform and then would buy different apps within that to help run their store. But then Bold and Shopify don't always like talk to each other the right way, so you had to figure out how to do specific things and when you're using Bold or when you're using Shopify. So through like answering emails for customers and fixing their orders, I was also figuring out how to do some of these things. Like an example of that, so Kate had texted me asking me to find a list of the customers, export a list of all the customers who were the reds and rosé, because the box was getting switched to whites and rosé. So, you know, if you don't like white wine, you're not going to want to stick with that box. So that's what we all tag teamed. So I found the list, started working with that, gave it the message to the guys, and then they went out and texted everyone, and then would let me know what to change the box to on the back end. And then also there was a bit of a panic. Joe was in China, and there was a list of people set to be charged who had not received their first box yet. And so I needed to find the best way to find that exact list of people who had signed up after the cutoff date, hadn't had their first box yet, but were scheduled to be charged, which means they would have been charged twice without receiving any box. So that would have been a nightmare for the customer emails, that's for sure. So we found that list, sent it off to Joe, and then when he was on a plane for like 14 hours leaving China, he was able to not charge those customers. So yeah, it's just kind of a couple examples that we'll go through a little bit more. TK? Yeah, so this is just an example. So this is Shopify. So those are all the specific orders that you can click on, and then you can do different things within Shopify, but that's basically what it looks like. Next slide. And then this is Bold. So you have to go to the apps, and then within that you can find Bold, which is where the recurring subscriptions is done. So that's all the management side of how to do people's different subscriptions, because Shopify is more of just like the platform that like shows when people get charged, but if you want to make changes to their subscription, you have to do it through Bold. Next slide. So this is just an example of some of my chats. These companies are kind of funny. They call everything like teams and gurus. That's like at the bottom for Shopify, your guru is typing. So that's Shopify, and then Bold, client success. So I was pretty much in contact with either Shopify or Bold at least every other day, trying to figure out just how to work the system that we were using. And so then through those emails and my talks with people, I was able to create this how-to manual of like when to use Shopify to do certain things, or when to use Bold, and just kind of a step-by-step customer service manual of like how to deal with different things that came about. And then one thing that I actually had like a project start to finish, because each day I was replying to all the emails on Hello, I Taste It. I was fixing people's orders. I was helping fix refund things, because we refunded things in a way that was actually not correct, so we had to go back and fix all of those. So then also part of the issue with having Shopify is that Axel Hire is our shipping company, and they aren't connected. So all of the orders in Shopify say that it's unfulfilled because there's no connection with Axel Hire. So we were trying to figure out, can we create an app within Shopify to connect Axel Hire to our Shopify, so that way, you know, you can easily tell, oh, is my order fulfilled or not, without having to check a separate entity. So I posted a job description basically for the Shopify app developers to see if I got any bites, and a couple people responded. So this is me talking with one of the Shopify experts to kind of start working out what we would need to create that app, what information he needs to get a quote. Next slide. Unfortunately, the quote was a little bit expensive. It was $7,500 to $8,000, which being a startup, it's kind of hard to just go forward with that money. In the future, for sure, gonna have to do it to connect our shipping with the e-commerce platform. But just at the moment, we won't be able to do it, but it's still nice to know that it can be done. Axel Hire has the API that they would use to create the app. So good to know for the future. Can't really use it quite yet. Maybe after the launch party. And then this is just an example email correspondence. So I think I've replied to probably, I don't know, close to like 100 emails within the customer service. So this was just one. A girl got pregnant, so she had to cancel her subscription. So just, you know, doing like different things to talk with people. And then for me, my message was with the highest rate of success was this message, me texting people, being like really personal. I'm like a hey babe kind of person, so I thought I'd start my text with that. And then I was able to get 9 signups through that. And then key takeaways, it was pretty cool. I became a Shopify e-commerce platform expert, learned the ins and outs of it. I had to use my creativity to solve problems in a really fast and efficient way. So logistics was good. And I found my voice for messaging, for being like a fun, young, millennial-based, you know, driven company. But also, when you reply to them, you have to be professionals too. And then I also learned that startups are crazy, and that just, you know, each day I would have like a new call or text from Kate or Zach, like, hey, can you figure out how to do this? Can you do this? Can you do that? So you just have to adapt and try to use your creativity to figure out how to get them that list of customers that's only for that specific time or to do different things. And I think it was just super cool that we got to start with this company right before they sent off their first shipment. I know we all feel really invested, and it was awesome to start with it from its early stages, and it was really awesome how much they trusted us with their company to like figure a lot of this stuff out. So that was super cool. So yeah, that's my thought.
So initially when, starting this project my first task was to get Google Adwords certified. I got that. It was not too complicated, but it's a completely different language from anything we've learned in any of these classes before, the whole cost per click and how like online marketing works. And you don't really realize how much money is going towards Google to make sure that your company is at the top of the list and getting clicked on, and every time there's a click, there's a cost. So it's pretty crazy. So I learned a lot about that. Working with the Google AdWords, I was going through SEMrush, and I did a metrics analysis of keywords and negative keywords. So it's pretty much just to see like if someone Googles wine box, how many times, or like at what point are we going to show up on it, or if someone Googles wine subscription, at what point are we going to show up on it, and how much is it going to cost per click. So just kind of figuring that out. There was already a guy that Zach was working with. His name is also Zach, who had worked in advertising and PR for, I believe, 8 or 9 years. So he was very proficient with it, and I kind of got phased out right after we realized how proficient Zach was with it. So then I moved into compiling contact information for accounts in San Diego, and the target market was millennials. The other target market was military wives, but I didn't really know how to go about compiling military wife data. I was gonna try to join a Facebook group, but that doesn't look too good. So then I went into customer service outreach via text message, and this was to ensure that the customer was getting exactly what box they wanted. This was with Emma, TK, and Quint, and that was the whole box switch from when they went from whites and rosé to reds and rosé. So that was just reaching out with like a copy and pasted text message that looked super personal to the customer, but was really sending that to like probably like 60 different people to figure out if they got exactly what they wanted. And then also we had to look through to make sure that customers, to see if we were shipping to a business or a home address, and that was for the sake of shipping method, to make sure that we were using the right shipping method. So initially when I went into the project, I was going in for SEO and SEM. By the end of it, I kind of floated around and kind of helped people complete tasks and start tasks and make sure that everything that was getting put into each of the databases was clean and ready. So yes, that is my AdWords certification. Got it. Yeah. So that was 80 question quiz. It taught me a lot about cost per click and like kind of leveraging where you're going to put your money on the internet, or like towards what keywords you're going to be using. SEMrush was a great website to kind of tell you exactly which ones are going to work. And then this is what SEMrush website, like the data would kick out. So I was also looking, well, blue is Taste It Wines, and then from there on is getvinebox.com, tastingroom.com, Bright Cellars, and Wink. And those were some major competitors that Zach wanted to see what keywords and phrases that they were using through Googling. So I pretty much just compiled a bunch of data, shot them off the PDF. It was like 50 pages, and it's just a bunch of graphs like this, just kind of telling you where your competitors lie when it comes to SEO and SEM. And then this was on another side, but this is the standard, or like the copy and pasted, hi, it's Brady from Taste It Wines, like, hope you're enjoying everything, sort of text. Make sure that they got the right box, or like if they wanted to switch. This person actually wanted to switch to the all reds box from instead of the whites and rosé, they just wanted the all reds.
So they first got the whites and rosé, or they haven't got it yet?
Yeah, it was a switch from whites and rosé to reds and rosé. And yeah, so I was just kind of like, the box on the website didn't switch, so they didn't really know. So I was just like reaching out to them, letting them know that it switched. Do they want to like switch or not? And then Kate and Zach were both wondering if there was any like negative feedback or anything through this switch. Everyone was really receptive to it, though. It wasn't a big deal for anyone. No one was that upset that it was switching. People either responded that they were cool with it switching or the exact box that they wanted to switch to. From there, I would put the information in for Emma to switch on the back end if they wanted to switch. If not, she would green light it and it could get shipped from there. And then here is from me, Emma, TK, and Quint. We were going through and using the addresses right here, putting them into Google, and then going straight to Google Earth and seeing if they were a home or a business. And from there, we would be able to know what type of shipping method we should use. So yeah, yellow is business, and then teal is home, and then red is customers that canceled, and then the kind of light pink color is customers who canceled but were charged a second time and need their second bonus. So my key takeaways from this project was, as you can see that I pivoted through a lot of different things. The initial planned task can change at any moment, and working hard to complete them is important in ensuring that the team has everything that they need when they need it. And then others tasks can quickly become your tasks too. Collaboration is important in starting a new business venture, just making sure that everyone has exactly what they need. A major takeaway for all of us for getting like this whole product out there is cold selling someone on a product is going to require a lot of patience and attempts, and staying positive during this and making sure that your sales spirit is up while selling the wine is good, so that people don't think that you don't want to be selling it. I didn't want to be selling it, but just make sure people know that you are passionate about what you're selling. And then I would say that the major takeaway for me is that SEO data is crucial in making sure that your startup is using your advertising money correctly. So yeah, that was. And then here we have Leah.
Okay, thank you so much. So, am I in the picture? Okay, cool. I had kind of a fun task of just coming up with certain designs, different projects for Taste It. So it was just kind of week by week, like what Kate needed. I was working with her directly, a little bit with Ollie as well. A couple of projects that I got to do, inspiration boards, just like finding, again, different pictures from Pinterest, just to create content that they could like remake again in their own photos. The back label, this was super fun, I'll get more into it later. I got to put together the back label that was actually on the back of the bottles, so when we got the bottles, it was there, and that was just really cool to see. I came up with a mock Instagram account, and just like going through, sorry, my voice is so, I'm sick, but I just got to go through a bunch of photos to figure out the best representation for the brand, and put them all together on the mock Instagram to scroll through. Also came up with a social media campaign for a Valentine's Day promotion. And then I worked on the sponsorship deck and the physical invitations that we sent out to people that were going to be attending. Okay, so first things first, I just wanted to create a full visual aesthetic for Instagram. Someone once described social media to me as like a slot machine. So you're just like always like scrolling through, like what are you gonna find, what are you gonna get? And there's a reason that Vegas is so like glitzy glammy, like you need to like catch the attention of people's eyes, like to find like the design that works. And so I just got to go through a bunch of the photos that they took to just match colors, contrast, and coordinate to create a visual Instagram that would work for them. And then again, I made a shot list. Gianna made one for Pinterest. And I think it was Zach or Kate had me find 10 lifestyle photos and like 10 like product photos that they could recreate for their own products. So I just got to go around and find photos that I found visually attractive, and I kind of looked up like what exactly a shot list is. So basically it's like what do you hope to accomplish with these photos, like examples of what they're going to be, and making like a timeline of like the location and where they're going to be taken, and again just like a list of the photos that you need. Back label was super fun. Kate put together the thumbs and a little turntable. She just needed help creating like the exact print. And I've used like Adobe Photoshop and InDesign like before, like years and years ago. But it was fun to reopen it again and just kind of like play around. Just something that I got to make. And once again, like this is on the back of the bottle. So when we got them in the mail, it was just exciting to like pull it out and see. what was on the back of it. So yeah. Sponsorship deck. This was fun. Basically, we needed to send out a deck to people that could be potential sponsors for the Black Tie Affair, which they're putting on next month. Yeah, it's next month. And it's just outlining the different packages, like first of all, like who is Taste It, what is Taste It, you know, how can you be a part of Taste It, and then just hopefully getting some sponsors from this deck. So at first, I didn't get too much direction on it, so I just kind of threw together a draft, and then after that, Kate went over it, and then we just made another one, and that's with anything with design, like, you're not going to be 100% happy with it, like, there's always, like, inches that you can move around, but just coming up with something that works and is effective, so that was for the deck. And then I also got to make the Evite and the physical tickets. This is for the Evite, so we're basically sending out a digital image to people that are invited to the party. And again, she just kind of like gave me like the reins, like go for it, see what you can do. So I came up with this guy on the left to start, and then sent it back to her. And just coming up with the different tweaks, like, you know, getting the actual sponsors and logos down here, and just like putting the visual representation for the next Jeff for the actual Malibu Rocky Oaks estate. So again, just kind of fun with design, just coming up with stuff together. Last one, the ticket for the event. I had no idea this market exists. It's called Creative Markets online. And you can go and find, like, they're not pre-made templates, but they are templates that you just download, and you get to put in like your own information. And again, I have barely used Photoshop, never really touched it before, but just kind of going through and figuring out how it's really working. So I would just be online, like, you know, looking up tutorials of how to do this, how to do that, and it's something that I've really come to enjoy to do. So that was exciting. Key takeaways, same as everybody else, communication is key. You just have to stay in contact with the team members, with, you know, Kate and Zach and everybody, just to really be as effective as possible. And flexibility comes with that. Like, if, you know, things change at all times, you can never really be too certain. I really found that establishing the brand identity is going to be so crucial to any business you're in. Like, you need to have a firm, like, who we're appealing to, like, what are we going to look like what's everything behind it before you can even start, like, pushing out the product. So I thought that was really important. Be detail-oriented, but not to the point of obsession. Like, I would just spend I don't even know how long, like, putting stuff, like, back and forth, like, just trying to find the perfect place. But again, like, design's never going to be perfect. Like, you're never going to be happy with it. I mean, you're going to be happy with it, but never, like, exactly, like, I don't know how to say it. But, yeah, that's how I thought about that. Drafts are your friend. You know, just getting everything laid out right in front of you, and just, like, figuring out, like, okay, like, how are we going to piece this together? Like, what's going to be most effective? What's going to look good? And yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, it was fun. It's good.
Awesome.
End of the project.
That's it.
All right, this is it.